Europeans especially, they ate ground up mummies. Francis the First had a pack of ground mummy with him all the time. So Charles II of England had a ton of money to put out to get a recipe for something called the King's Drops. And it was powdered human skull that was distilled in wine. And you hear people say, like, eat the rich. Well, I don't know if that's some kind of like 1984 newspeak or whatever, because what they really do is eat the poor.
Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the f*** are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Eric, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Revolution will be podcasted.
All right, welcome to Tinfoil Hat, live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studio. That's right, Wolfpack Gold. Just go to samtripoli.com, use the samtripoli.gold, use the promo code tinfoil, and you too can get in on the Press Mills game for as little as $50 a month. Very excited to have this guest on. She has made history. She is the first female on the Mount Crushmore to the victors goes to spoils. After one appearance, too. That's how powerful the appearance was. That it just it made an impression that they voted you on. Please welcome Dr. Heather Lynn. How are you?
I'm great. Glad to be here. And thank you very much for everybody who cast a vote for Mount Crushmore. That was really awesome. I felt like I broke the glass ceiling and did something that Hillary Clinton and even Kamala Harris couldn't do. So,
your episode was absolutely fire. I really enjoyed it. And obviously, it resonated. Before we get into it, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our guests can find you in case they didn't hear your last episode?
Yeah, sure. Well, I am a cognitive archaeologist and historian, and you can find me on thehfiles.com. That's the name of my Substack as well. And so I write a best-selling Substack on there where I cover the occult architecture behind all of the different things going on in modernity. So cult, hidden history, archaeology, and everything strange.
What an interesting life you live. I mean, how do you function with regular people? How do you function in this slops culture?
Bold of you to think that I do. I just, I do what I do, and I just try to keep positive about it, and I deliver the bad news about our decline with a smile, and because that's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
And just stay grounded. So, but it's getting something out there. I'm sure we all know.
Today is a historic day. It is the end of the U.S. sovereignty. We are now combined our military with Israel. It's over. I mean, just chaos, bro. And go on Twitter, go on Instagram. Nobody's talking. Nobody cares. It's just, it's like, hey, dude, I wish I could help you, but you just don't care. You're just so distracted by everything and all the stupid. Real quick, who was I talking to last night? I was talking on Conspiracy Social Club. Do you find it crazy that some of our biggest cultural art right now is about war? Odyssey just came out, House of Dragons, and you're watching war, and it's crazy to me because I'm watching these, and a lot of times when these soldiers die, they just move on. It's a very weird thing to watch. There was this scene with the Cyclops. Where they're like, we can't leave him, but that was about it. Outside of that, it's he's gone, keep moving on. Do you think that's psychological? Because it seems like we're gearing up for an unnecessary war right now.
I think it is. I think it's predictive programming and a little bit of the revelation of the method going on. I think we all sort of feel that as well. You said you really like the Odyssey, though. Do you recommend that I see it? I've been asked to do a review on it.
Is
it good?
Okay, so where you look at it, for the angle that you look at it might be different than regular people looking at it. I'm sure there's a lot of symbolism and all that stuff. In terms of just going somewhere and turning your brain off and just enjoying a movie that's done amazingly, I would recommend it. But I understand why people are so angry with me because there's all this cultural Marxism in it and stuff like that. Again, Johnny and I have talked about it. It's like he kind of mocks the diversity in it, but that's not good enough for some people. So I think it's a great story being told. I know it's not told perfect, but visually it's absolutely amazing.
Well, I know it's based off of somebody's retelling in a feminist lens. So I'm like, I know going in it's going to be not very good, at least historically accurately. But
that was even a bit misleading. He said originally that he took inspiration from the opening line of that translation, but he said that it's based on many of the popular translations, but people ran with that as soon as they heard that, because the woman that actually did that translation didn't like the film. She was, she complained that it was, about a number of things, but yeah, so that's not the, the thing is too, what translation is your loyalty to if you care about it being accurate? Because there are more than 100 in English. Many of them vary wildly from each other. So, are you reading it in the Homeric Greek? Because if you are, then maybe you could have a real gripe. But
well, then, maybe we'll interpret it all kinds of different ways. It'll be like purple, and they'll be doing like child, whatever it is that Amon Hillman's kind of translations would say. So that would be interesting. These things you translate, but there's interpretations, and people are still working to this day to actually translate these things in a way that can make a meaning to it. There's a whole course at Harvard. It was Professor Nagy used to teach it, and it was called like the Greek hero in 24 hours. And he would always say, like, you have to read into the text, not out of it. And it was just wild, because the idea that these things are settled, case closed, and that there's no way to interpret or reinterpret is one thing. But then the whole thing about it being super woke, I just wonder if that was a ploy to get people to talk about it more.
I do.
It makes me wonder.
Because if you actually look at the screen time of all the woke shit, it's minimal. It's very minimal.
What's her name? The trans chick? She didn't get a lot of
Ellen. I misgender. Elliot. Elliot. How dare me? Yeah. What's interesting too, and this isn't being an apologist for any of that. It's just simply like maybe a little hot take and something to put something else into perspective. People back then, I know people were talking about he's, she's, they. It's so tiny. Like, it doesn't seem like that would be a strong, Greek warrior or what have you. And I know this is a podcast, and so some people won't get this effect. So I apologize, but I'll describe. I just so happen to have on my desk a Greek ring from a shipwreck that belonged to an administrator on a Hellenistic boat. And so this would have been from somebody who was, pretty well fed and wasn't really a weak person and had some sort of status, because this is a signet ring. And the notable thing about it is how tiny it is. And I can't really zoom, but what I can do is show you a Sharpie, and I can put it on the Sharpie and show you.
Oh, wow.
That it only fits on this Sharpie. It's tiny. It's really tiny.
Yeah.
It is, and it would have been most likely a pinky ring, and it would have been on this pinky like this. However, still very small, very small.
Yeah.
To consider this would have been like a large. Well, you would think maybe a large man, but people were a lot smaller then, and so not to suggest they were Elliot Page size, but just to sort of put that out there as an example of a lot of these films kind of give us a false perception of what the past was like the Greek myths. One of my favorite old movies is the Ray Harryhausen Clash of the Titans, and things like that, where they show them running around in broken marble that's all white, and it's just kind of like a wreck. And then in real life, those pieces were very brightly painted with reds and yellows and blues and that sort of thing. So if you could really step back in time and see, it would have been very vivid. And we don't usually think that, even so much as the founding fathers and people who came over here and wanted to associate the new world with that old world, that neoclassicism, they built the buildings and also made them kind of white. So we have that style, but it wasn't what they looked like at all. And so there's this misperception of what the past was like, and depending on how we want to perceive ourselves, actually, like, oh, it was so backwards. They were just so, they didn't have anything, or they were so advanced. And I mean, the truth is probably somewhere in between, and it depends on which culture, which time period, of course. But
yeah, I mean, I talk about, like, if you look at today, you have the Yamamamo of South America, who still lives in the jungle and huts and all that, and you also have Tokyo. So which one is the reality? They're both reality. It depends on where the lens is focused on what you're looking at. And if they only send you Yamamo, there could be some people going, in the year 2026, they lived in huts and they hunted with spears and they, that's what they would believe, because that's what the focus and of the history was. But there was Tokyo at the same time. And I don't know if you've ever been to Tokyo, but it's absolutely amazing. And it's super futuristic. And I've been there in a decade. I can't imagine what it's like today. I'd love to go back. So everything is a trick, man. Everything is a magic trick, right?
It is a total magic trick. And I always thought of this too, like the way that archaeology works is if you don't know what it is, then you can just call it ritual. So, that, and then of course they get mad if you have some sort of creative thinking or some sort of hypothesis. So, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, of course. But I used to think how funny it would be if after people were gone or something happened and they excavated, they would legit think that we worshipped a mouse, that we were like the cult of Mickey. They would they would find all these artifacts. They would think that we had made pilgrimages to far off places. They would find these artifacts everywhere, little statues, big ones, everything like that. And so I'm thinking, one day if it ever can be, archaeologists are going to look at us as like this culture of Mickey, cult of Mickey, and that we had all these other pagan gods like Pluto. There'll probably be academics like debating all the time as to why, Pluto was a dog, but so is Goofy. Maybe having with
I've never thought of that. That's a really great, like what they find, what survives.
Oh no, and then they'll find a book, and then they'll find a book about Pluto, the planet, and they'll be really confused now. They'll be like, wait, was it a dog? Was it a planet?
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of the story, like the Colosseum for generations. They didn't know what it was for, right? They thought it was, and then they borrowed marble from the Colosseum. They thought that some. And finally, we now know that it was, for entertainment
or
purposes.
What they're telling us.
They thought it was some kind of dedicated to a god, perhaps, for generations. It was just lost. That's how long ago the Colosseum was built, that there were just generations that passed away. They had totally forgot what it was there for after the collapse of Rome.
That's my opinion on the Sumerian tablets. Like, okay, you translated it, or did you translate it? Is it just your take on what you're seeing and we're just running with it at this point?
I would say that's exactly what's going on, and there's probably some truth in it, and then there's also obviously some things that have been propagandized and used to create a whole field right now that leads people to think that perhaps there were beings that were more advanced and they mixed with other people and they're semi-god or demigods, and that they maybe are entitled to the land and all the spoils there. Maybe they're better and smarter than us. And
it's super interesting. And if you look at like how the elites present stuff, it's kind of like anything to keep them in power, keep us in fear, keep us scared, keep us feeling like we have no chance of defending ourselves. That tends to be the push. And then you look into like Operation Blue Beam, and it's the aliens going to come down. Like the Fantastic Four, the last movie, I thought was great. Right here, I'm on a plane. It's there. Okay, I'll watch it. And it was a great movie, but it was so obviously Project Blue Beam. That was the story.
Yes. Yeah.
The whole world has come together, and these four people save the day. And of course, Mom uses her mommy love to stop the guy that eats planets. By the way, and because you touched her daughter, she went mom crazy on you or a kid, and it's a very interesting thing, dude. That whole idea that just something that's so powerful, we might as well just give up.
I think superheroes, now this is another hot take. I'm going to
Love
get
it. We're all
comments
about
on
it.
this. I think superheroes in and of themselves are like a massive psyop meant to demotivate everybody, especially men, from doing anything. Now, hero is a concept, and that's a very well-known concept going back, well, as far as the Greek and beyond, like Epic of Gilgamesh, there's this idea of a hero. This is like a cultural figure that has all of the traits that are needed to rise up and do something that's usually governmental, like protect, provide, all of these sorts of attributes. And that can happen on a different levels. So if your culture maybe is one that you need to fight off animals or something to that effect, you would be really strong. You would be, vicious like an animal. Maybe in a different culture, maybe it would be something more intellectual. So our heroes would be the nerds or whatever. So it goes basically that way. But now we have this idea of the superhero, which literally comes from the Übermensch of Nietzsche. And that is where it gets a little like, wait, what? So if you remember, if you're familiar at least with Superman and how that came about, it was originally a story about this Übermensch, and it was the Overman. So they eventually called it Superman because that was the best translation. But these two kids from Cleveland who they were like really inspired to write a story. And when you look it up, I think it's on archive.org, you can find the actual comic, which it's just really wild to see because it's more like a book with some illustrations. But they were inspired by Nietzsche and all of these cool ideas at the time. And they were like, oh, we're going to make this superhero. He's telepathic. He's all powerful. He does mind control, all of this, right? And then eventually it was very boring because, how can you defeat something like that? And it didn't sell well. So they literally went back to the drawing board, and they then were inspired by the war that was happening and the Jewish plight and their kind of version of it and what they were going through. And so they reimagined the character to be fighting Nazis, and this, like, the character came from somewhere like special, but like they had to be on a farm now, and it was like very middle American, and it was just whole sort of thing. But they had to give kryptonite there so that it would be like a literal Achilles heel. This idea that a hero is between a god and a man. And that way it's like a rung on a ladder where if you want to be inspired, you can literally be inspired, like the spirit, the inspirare of the divine can come into you through the catharsis of watching the hero go through these labors. And then you can say, I can be like that, maybe, because he's fallible. Now, before that, you would have something like the Sumerians where their gods were, those gods, they just like did everything to you. You were like a total victim, right? You had no power. But in Greek humanism, this idea of the human being celebrated, not quite divine, but maybe a little divine, it gave hope, and it gave people this idea that maybe they could do something more. And of course, that can go all the way, which it did with the Übermensch being, well, now we can become like gods. In Nietzsche's great God is Dead, paragraph, because he says God is dead and we have killed him. And he laments, like, who are we, murderers of all murderers? And he paints this picture out of an individual standing there with a bloodied knife and like regretting that God is dead, but then getting this notion like, must we not become gods in order to at least appear worthy? And so it's like playing with this notion that, well, now that God is dead, transhumanism, anyone? Maybe we can be gods? And then the Übermensch comes out of that, which is the Superman and the superhero, rather than the regular humanistic Greek hero model. And now, of course, that's where, it's not that deep. It is that deep, because when you start getting Hollywood involved and money and all of the different things that they're doing to attack the psyche, this is just one of them where you get young people, young men in particular, who watch this and they love it. Everybody loves it. It's so fun and everything. But I think on some psychic level, it's actually demotivating in some ways. And you can see how it's become an industry. And I don't see that there's anything great in the world because of it, other than just people are, watching these things and, going through what,
for sure.
And now we have all that. I don't know if you've seen in the news. I've been researching this for an article. Are you familiar with gooning?
Yes, I've heard of it. I've heard that term before.
All right,
I've heard the whispers.
The whispers. Yes, so that's something that I'm looking at when you distill all of this like occult magic. You can get really like high-minded with it and go into all of the grimoires and everything. And the thing that practicing occultists really hate is when you profane it, which is when you just bring it down to what it actually is. And if you really really take Occam's razor and say, okay, what is this whole occult? What are all these rituals? What is this? It really comes down to two things: blood and jizz. That's it.
It's so true. And this notion that as a society we're degrading and we're getting more and more corrupted and looser morals. And then you look at so much of like old religion, like especially on the Sam Tripoli TPUSA thread that goes so deep. You guys have no clue how I just peek in just to see what's going on. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so deep. It's so deep. And a lot of it's, about ancient history. But like if you really study like all these ancient religions, everything was like dick and snatch.
Yep. That's that. And blood, and that's why, the sacrifices would happen, but also, blood comes from snatch. So we got we got menstruation. That's like amazing, but also, a little sus because why are women bleeding like this? And yet they never die. So there's a lot going on there, but it does come down to, it's like really suspicious. And that's, kind of why women were associated with a snake, because a serpent sheds its skin and then lives. Plus, in fairness, during that time of month, women do have mood swings and stuff. And imagine people are like, whoa, what is going on? So it's just their way of interpreting the world around them. But it's still, the more you get all of these different, I don't know, occult blinds is what they're usually called, ways to change the words. A really low-hanging fruit example would be how they've taken UFO and turned it into UAP.
Yes.
And they've done a lot of this where you can just, if you want to study it, you have to relearn a different set of jargon. And that's kind of by design too, so that you don't continue that trail of research. Because if you go down the real deep rabbit hole of the occult, you're just going to end up in a puddle of blood and jizz. And they don't like that because it profanes. It totally profanes the art.
Well, that's another thing too. It's I watched this video on one of my shows called Doom Scrolling. It was weird facts about sex. And the whole theory that she said is that women cut their hair short because men used to just make love to other men. And you see this in Afghanistan, right? It's a very well-known thing that they see women for reproducing and men for pleasure. That's the going saying over there. I did some stand-up over there. But the reason I bring all this up is let's say what this woman said was true. That's why women cut their hair short at the time when they got married. This demonization, and people are going to lose their mind when I say this, but the way that we've demonized sex so much, and this comes from a guy who's struggled with it. I'm openly admitted I with sex addiction, stuff like that. The way we've made it so it's anything other than monogamy is this kind of taboo occult thing that you're falling for tricks of darkness is kind of crazy to me, because we portrayed as this new school way of looking at stuff, where it's kind of this progressive view of stuff, it's progressivism, this free love, and then you go back and you look at what they were doing back in the day. I say it all the time. It's you could feel really bad about maybe you're gooning. Okay, I get it, right? But look what was happening in the Bible at the beginning. They were doing some weird ass shit back then, and that was in the Bible. So it's what is this game being played on? What is this psychological war on us to really make this? And I'm not saying that, sex magic, you got to really I'm saying you got to watch yourself with that stuff. It is energy. But the way we've portrayed it, where it's when we talk about the stuff that we're showing kids today versus before. Yeah, okay, maybe it's not as sexual as it was before, but man, it was super violent. Tom and Jerry were just literally using weapons to kill each other. And we were put your kid in front of that and just let him watch some cartoons. And it's he's trying to they're trying to murder each other with axes, with hammers, with saws. Forever. And it's
Three Stooges, dude. They used to beat the shit out of each other.
Right. It's super interesting how they can change the lens in which we look at something.
Well, they did it with samurais. I just told my friend, samurais were bisexual. He's super into samurais. He's like, no, they weren't. looked it up, and I was like, yeah, they were. And he was like, oh shit, he wasn't offended by it, but he's like something that they don't tell you, and now it's like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think part of that really comes down to the idea of this is going to sound very Me Too, but it consent at the end of the day. I mean, and that's where we can draw the lines here, I think, to some extent. So, like when we talk about gooning, for those who don't know, gooning is prolonged masturbation that's built on edging, and you go to climax for hours until you literally hit a trance-like state. I mean, that's sort of the goal. It's also competitive, and so there's this sort of thing. So you're not supposed to really like
Competitive gooning?
Yeah, it's totally
When's that
about
going to be on the ESPN Ocho?
Yeah, that would be an interesting one to do a play-by-play. But the thing is, it's part of this incel culture, and so they get together in groups and like, man, I can goon longer than you, whatever. So that's what they're doing.
So
but on the other hand, there's a thing called sharking. And then also it's called tagging. It goes between sharking and tagging. I think tagging is picking up more steam. And if you think about what tagging means in an urban sense, you're going out there and spray painting, right? So basically they're taking gooning to the streets. And this is what's going on now with this question of, I think, consent. And this is where it gets really like, maybe like it's someone's weird kink, or maybe you think, oh, what's wrong with them, to hold on a minute, maybe this should be moralized or something to that effect. So in 2023 at a Dollar Tree, good old Dollar Tree, that's been an epidemic specifically in those stores.
I seen that video.
Did
you see it?
Yeah, I saw that video. That guy landed on her. He's like next to this girl. She's grocery shopping. He's gooning, and then he literally just lands it on her, runs away.
Yeah.
It's a whole video. It's a whole,
That is, okay.
So we're having that as a problem. Right. So we're having that as a problem. And so then you have like this idea of, because we mentioned like being skeptical of women and, they're bleeding and what the hell is that about? But then you have, what's interesting is the word glamour. In the book of Enoch, that is what the Watchers bring, is they bring a couple things, weapons and cosmetics. So this swords and eyeliner, essentially. And so in the Quran, there's a parallel. There's two angels, and they are sent to Babylon, and they teach sorcery, but they get seduced. And so glamour, though, this idea of to be glamorized, it is a corruption of the word grammar. It doesn't enter English until like the 1700s, and it meant grammar, which in the medieval context actually meant occult knowledge, and it's the source where we get the word grimoire. And so in the Scottish, they would say to cast a glamour over someone is to bewitch their eyesight and make them see what you want them to see. So like literally from the book of Enoch, we're taught Enoch, and then even like, again, it's in the Quran and other ancient texts elsewhere, this notion that in addition to the weapons that could kill, the other ones are makeup so that you could bewitch and trick and seduce. And so, and then even when it comes to Luciferian or this idea of the Theosophy and the Lucis Trust is something I talk about a lot. Alice Bailey, who was the founder of the Lucis Trust, wrote an entire book in the 1950s called Glamour, A World Problem, where she defined glamour as this illusion that keeps humanity asleep. And so she was using it in that traditional occultic context. Now we just talk about it like glamour girl, like whatever, like Hollywood's glamorous. But even it is glamorous because it is casting a spell over you using bewitching products and whatever to lie. So again, I'm saying this, no judgment, right? I'm a woman. I'm wearing like lipstick. My lips aren't this red, so clearly. But the difference is, I think it comes down to this line. People can like goon all day if they want to. They can do whatever. But if you start bringing it out as in mind control to someone else when you're casting a spell.
I agree with that.
Or you are controlling their mind, you're taking away consent. And yeah, that sounds even like woke and played out. But I think at that greater level, they want us to feel like the word consent is sort of like lame because what they're doing to us is non-consensual. We're being, our psyches are being destroyed. They're loosh farming us. They're taking our energy. They're doing all of this stuff without our consent. It's manufactured consent, maybe. And that's how they can get away with their karmic idea of like, well, you guys were not smart enough. It's the survival of the fittest. It's social Darwinianism. So you deserve it. And so I think it's a matter of that consent.
Guys, Peter Haggith or whatever, Hegseth. What's his name? Hegseth?
Hegseth, yeah.
Peter Hegseth just asked for $1.4 trillion for a new war. They're going to print all that money. That means your money's not going to be worth jack shit. That's why you got to take that money, put it into precious metals, and there's no better place to go than our good friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. That's right, Wolfpack Gold. Let me tell you about Wolfpack Gold. If you're paying attention, you know that de-dollarization is real. Fiat is fake, and you don't want to be left holding the bag when the dollar collapses. Gold and silver has been money through all of recorded history and are an excellent way to protect yourself from inflation and geopolitical turmoil. That's why I trust my friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver for all things precious metal. Veteran owned and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. No transaction is too big or too small, and you can even roll over your 401k or IRA into physical gold and silver. And if you think you can't afford precious metals, think again. With the Wolfpack monthly membership program, you can get gold and silver delivered directly to your door for as little as $50 a month. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver also deals in and accepts Bitcoin. So go to samtripoli.gold, promo code tinfoil at checkout to receive free constitutional silver. And remember, in the world of bulls and bears, be the wolf. Hey guys, the most important thing in life is your health. And if you're not taking control of your health, then you got nothing. And that's why I want to tell you about our good friends at Superpower. Let me tell you about Superpower. Superpower is going to change the way you deal with your health, okay? And they're the best at it, right?
Superpower will send a licensed professional to your home, or you can visit a nearby lab. It's one simple blood draw with more than 100 biomarkers, which is way more than what you usually get, and it's a way to unlock a real understanding of your body. Their app includes detailed info on your heart, liver, thyroid, hormones, metabolism, vitamin and mineral levels, and even environmental toxins. So from disease prevention to treating that annoying brain fog, or simply optimizing your gym game, Superpower is the most comprehensive and advanced system out there. Superpower doesn't just give you a one-time snapshot, though. That's the thing about Superpower. It tracks your results over your lifetime. Each test is another data point, builds on the last, so you can actually see progress year after year instead of just starting over every January. Superpower used to cost $499, but right now it's just $199 for the full experience. That's more affordable than anything else out there. Other testing services charge $500, $1,000, sometimes even more for similar or fewer test results. Know what your numbers are with Superpower.
Make this the year you stop guessing about your health with Superpower. Not only did Superpower reduce the price to just $199, but for a limited time, our listeners get an additional $20 off with code TINFOIL. All right? Head to Superpower, just like it sounds, spelled just like it sounds, .com and use the code TINFOIL at checkout for $20 off membership. After you sign up, they'll ask you how you heard about them. So make sure to mention this podcast to support the show, and we thank them for sponsoring the show. Does it seem to you like the consent thing? Now, we're not talking sex anymore. We're moving into politics. That is going away. Like this idea that through the cult, whether it was because, who was it? King Solomon controlled the demons and made all these rules for them. And one of them is you kind of got to get consent, like to let the head vampire in. I don't know, based on this thing that just happened with the Israeli military, and everyone universally, as far as I could tell, is against it. Those who actually pay attention to what's going on, yet it still passes. Do you think we're kind of... Do you think they're kind of like, why are we following this stupid rule anymore? Why do we need their consent for anything? Why don't we just do what we want to do now? We've kind of gotten to the point where that old rule, fuck you, and we're just going to do it anyways now. We're not going to ask for your consent. We tried to do all this propaganda that doesn't seem to be working anymore. And it was easy when we could propagandize you. But now we're done with it, and we're just going to merge with the Israeli military. And even though everyone's against it, and it means kind of the end of our sovereignty, which I would question whether we really ever had that after the Federal Reserve and the Bank of England, the Bank of International Settlements. But it seems more blatant right now.
Yeah. No, it does. And I think that it's a mix of hubris, but I also think it's built into part of the plan. I think that when you look at some of the big players in this, like Peter Thiel and others, they're very much into a certain set of philosophers, and one of those being Rene Girard, who talks all the time about the importance of the scapegoat. The scapegoat, not just in a religious or ritualistic sense that way, but literally in a civilizational sense. So there's this idea that they know it's all coming down, that they're not going to be able to stop it, and they're going to have to do something to prop someone up for to take the hit.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's this idea of there's no way out. So in the past they had this. It was more of like a economic system in Rome. They had built this thing called the Jubilee, and it was excuse me. They built this thing called the Jubilee. It was this idea where you could cancel all the debts and have the enslaved people freed, and it would keep the people from rising up and getting too out of hand. And so this was a pattern that you see in anthropology a lot, where it would get so much that a society's debt would get so big that it would either have to forgive it and say, okay, too big to fail, or find somebody to blame and then have a clean slate, and that was through sacrifice. And Rome actually lost that valve, and then the creditors became the state, and so canceling the debt would have meant forgiving themselves, and then it just didn't work, and so debt compounded until it hollowed the republic out from the inside, and we kind of have that same thing going on. So the idea with Girard is that which is his whole life's work, was that human desire is essentially imitative, where it's we want things because other people want them. So he talks about mimetic desire. And that breeds essentially rivalry, which could be like capitalism, of course, but it could also be like a contagion. It can get violent. And so because everyone else wants everybody wants everybody else's stuff, yes. It doubles. And so the distinction there starts to be so fractured that the peace dissolves and the society will slide towards everybody's against everyone. And we kind of see that now. We have clear ideas, or at least we did for a while, of it's the left against the right, or it's this person against that, or whatever. And with all these just fractured parties and religions and all of it, and everybody's just mad about everything. We're all just going at each other. Everyone's like, debate me, bro. Everything's just about everything's just, excuse me. Everything's just about a fight, and they have us fighting in this sense. But that's part of this idea of the need for the Jubilee. But they're not going to do that. And instead, what they are most likely going to do, because of the Girardian component, is, as you said, AstroTurf the end times. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. And so all that violence points in all these directions. They need to have a scapegoat. And I mean, you can read that this is in the writings of all of them, including these tech elites, so to speak, where they say we need a scapegoat. Who is that scapegoat? Well, right now, I know in our group chat, we have Matt Arrett, who proposed that it would be Israel. And that is a running idea, is that even though we're setting Israel up to be sort of, winning or what have you, it's at the end of the day, all countries, all people are supposed to go against Israel to fulfill that end times prophecy. If that's the case, then Israel can go on the chopping block and act as a scapegoat at the very last. And so Matt proposes that the Israel is being groomed essentially to be the scapegoat, which makes sense in some ways. I'm not quite sold on that just yet. It seems like the case, but I don't know. I think it might be something else.
I think there's a lot to that. The whole prophecy is that, God will come down when everyone goes to war with Israel, and who knows if that's real or that's been inserted. But the setting up of the Ukraine as New Jerusalem, what seems to be going on in Argentina, where they're taking a huge part of Argentina, and they said they're going to import all these Israelis there, which good luck, Argentina. but it seems to be like we're going to flee here, which to me kind of goes, then what is all this religious stuff that we've been taught over years? If you're just going to leave all these ancient ruins of your past religion, or why ever you're in Israel, it seems like that kind of makes it all ring hollow at this point. If you're just going to bail on it, it just seems weird.
I don't think they really care. I don't think it's really about that. I think it's about the religion, but I think that their view of it is that they are entitled to not Israel, but the entire world. The entire world is their Israel. So if they have to leave one land, they can go to, like you said, Argentina or something like that. But I think it's more of an ideology, and that's why it's so frightening, really, to see how it could go. So we have that big level where that's happening, and then there's also like a related but maybe smaller current, and that would be what we're seeing with the Kirk assassination. The push to make sure Tyler Robinson is like guilty. Like that's it. Like that is there's no other narrative. It has to be him as this lone shooter. Any other evidence or anything has to just go to the side, because we need everybody in this situation to believe that there's this one person. Punish him. Boom. Done. Wrap it up. And then no more questions. But people are always going to ask questions, like the JFK assassination or what have you. But they're looking for that scapegoat, and I think that Tyler Robinson is in their minds prepared to function as one.
So you think he's in on it?
No, not necessarily. I mean, because a lot of these things, that's something really, I think, important to point out too, because so many times we say they, or, all these groups, and while there are these groups, it only takes a small number of people at the top to orchestrate everything at the bottom and all the way through the grand LARP. And in the occult, back in like the 1800s, they used to refer to this process as an occult prison. People would say like Blavatsky had been put in an occult prison. And what that could mean now in that sense is maybe like the Truman Show would be a good example, where you have a live action role-playing game and you're part of it. And only so many people are playing the game at the top. And so you can start getting all the people together and put them around each other. So say, for instance, you have somebody who they want to be a musician and they want to be famous and sing. Well, you could find a person, you put them in the system, their manager is in on it, but they don't know they're even in on it because they also had their desires met through this system. The whole thing, the whole LARP itself becomes like an egregore. That's why if you start plucking off the leaders, it doesn't matter that much, because the thing has a life of its own and it can outlive those leaders. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't people planning at the very top. It just means that the plausible deniability is so thick because we're all operating in their gameplay, and some people more than others. And so some of these individuals, they may never know. I mean, even the ones that, I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but even something like an Erica Kirk, she may not even fully know. She may know she's in some sort of corrupt bubble or whatever, but to the depths of what's really going on. I mean, there's multiple levels to this, where it's like, we all want to imagine that they're doing the Eyes Wide Shut party together and they all see the blood on the altar or whatever, but maybe not. It's such a grand LARP that some people can be in on it doing very bad things and not realize that they're also functioning at maybe 4 different levels, that they're doing, 4 different games at once that they've been put into, and they can't escape because it's their reality now.
And they may only know one of those levels and not know the other 3 levels. That's why I'm not saying we should have sympathy for Erica Kirk, but I do think that we should be, maybe she's not in control of anything happening.
Yeah, this is above. I mean, she's in control of what she's in control of. She's done her things. Everybody has, nobody's innocent. Not even one human being is not innocent. Everybody is doing something. And in these kinds of big geopolitical mechanisms, it's people could be used for that. And so she may not be innocent in the way that we want to think she's a victim, or maybe she should have done better.
Widow.
Well, poor widow, right? I mean, and that, even those types of things, she's being propped up as that. And that plays into the game as well. And so then that would make and I'm sure you've seen this just being on social media, where it's an echo chamber, or people who want to clout chase, or they do something where all of a sudden they're picking up the talking points. So those people who are on that end of amplifying a message, they're not having a, tete-a-tete with Peter Thiel or Rockefeller. They're just kind of doing the whole, Five Monkeys thing. They're doing okay, I guess this is what we do. This is how I get recognition. And so those elites, they don't have to, the power brokers or the parasites, they don't have to really do a lot. They can manage things from the very top, and it'll trickle down, because we're all, like Gerard said, we want and we copy each other, and essentially we're just primates. We're monkey see, monkey do. And then we have to fight that.
Yeah, I think there are some people that might be on the payroll here and there, but then there's people who just emulate what they're doing.
Right.
Like one guy will be like, send out like, he'll tweet something, and then everyone just follows it. And it's lemmings. They just,
if you doubt that though, think of like the illegals program. Remember that the Russians had, the KGB had, where they just sent people over here to be born and have full lives and just exist.
Mitch McConnell's wife. That was, I was thinking, like,
their whole fucking
literally
lives.
a LARP, and the minute it looks like her assignment's done, she doesn't even wait. She gets on a plane and flies right home. She didn't even wait till he's dead or officially announced dead. She got out as soon as she could.
Now, they did find, I think, the Russians, that occasionally, especially women who had kids, it became a challenge to keep them on program. Once you have kids, it's like it's hard to fight.
So how do you handle birthright? Because that's birthright, right?
Oh, those kids.
Well, they don't care. I mean, it's all fake documents anyway, so it's irrelevant. But what I mean is, emotionally, it's kind of hard to activate somebody after 30 years of not, really, of living an Americanized life, and their kids are going to American schools at that point.
It's all magic.
I mean,
dude.
like, what was her name? Anna Chapman or whatever. Remember that woman? That she was one of those illegals.
I saw a story on Doom about a family that lived in like Spain or somewhere. And then one day they got called back to Russia, and they came out, and Putin had to speak to them in like Spanish or Portuguese.
Interesting.
Because the kids didn't speak Russian. They didn't know. They literally thought they were like either Spanish or Portuguese. It was like really crazy. Like that's how deep it goes.
And if they would do that, I mean,
and that's not the only country who does it. All these countries.
Oh no, we only know about that because the Russians did it. Yeah.
It's so much deeper than anybody wants to know, and they're getting lost in this right versus left, this Republican, Democrat, and they get so mad at you when you don't play that game with them.
Yeah, and this is so true.
They just like, I'm literally feeling like excommunicated from all my comedy friends. Because I just like, dude, it's both sides suck. You need to know that. I don't hate your side. I hate your side and hate the other side too. I'm not on one side or the other. I think, and like, I just have arguments with people, and you just see them short circuit because we're so used to the good guy, bad guy paradigm. If there's a bad guy, there's got to be a good guy. There can't be two bad guys. And like, no, they're both bad guys. You just can't come to grips with that.
Hey, and you know what? And this is not going to sound very nice either, but sometimes the good guy can also be a bad guy. I mean, that's kind of what makes them a strong guy, is that they're not all just like, well, very passive. You want somebody who's a little bit dangerous if you need protection, if you need a hero, somebody who's going to rise up and protect you. That's the role of our government, is not to meddle with everything, but to provide us safety, number one. And so it takes the place of that figure. But in the home and coming down in that way, we need protection. And we've lost sight of, I think, what we're supposed to be doing as a people and as a family, because we're just like looking out there at these big organizations that really have nobody at the head. I mean, like, who's the head of the Republican Party? No, whoever it is not really the head of any of this. It's two wings on the same bird. So it doesn't matter. And what's unfortunate too is this is the same with religions. And you would think that maybe spirituality could be a little different, because it might have people who are, maybe more caring or something to that effect. But it's really nasty there too. Everyone's fighting about which denomination is superior or whatever. And at the end of the day, it's almost like that whole, going back to the difference between gooning and tagging. Like, you can sit around and pray all you want in the ways that you want and do all that. It's totally fine. But don't come out and try to like convert. Like, that's where I have like my personal issue. Like, don't convert. Like, let me go to hell if I'm going to go to hell. It's no worry off.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
That's my whole opinion. That's why everyone gets really mad at me about. It's like, I'm just not here to tell people how to live their lives. I've learned some lessons in life. I apply it to my life the best I can. I'm not perfect. I don't walk on water. But what you're doing, as long as you're not hurting children, that's the big one. And then like committing violence or stealing. Like, I literally think prison should only be for people who hurt people and people who steal. Anything else, like, so much of it's like, do they gotta go to jail for that? It's just kind of dumb to me. You know what I'm saying?
Like drug charges and that sort of thing. It's really wretched to put people in jail for that when we should be helping people overcome.
Why can't we have privatized rehabs? Why does that have to be a privatized jail? Why can't we order people to go to a rehab and deal with in a way that they don't feel like they're locked in a fucking cage? I don't understand that. You could make so much money doing that. People who only think about money and look at human beings as resources.
I mean, they still make you go sober when you go to jail. Obviously, it's kind of like
but you're thrown in with mentally ill, violent people when the only thing you did for the longest time was smoke weed.
Somebody died where I'm at in Northeast Ohio. I can't remember which county jail it was, but somebody passed away because they put him in there, and she was an addict, and she died because she was having DT so bad, and they just were like, whatever, you'll get over it. And she died. And I think the only charge was like drug oriented. So it's like no compassion or sympathy for anybody, which, they're going through literal like spiritual maladies as opposed to just like a crime, something that's like hurting other people. And we talk a good game, especially if you're on the left or any of that, where it's all about your truth and safe spaces and caring about everybody. And it's like, well, yeah, but look at the diseases of despair. That's what's really like hurting everybody, is that people are on all kinds of things. And even this thing with like the incels and all of this, these are broken, sad people. And that's where the real problem is. It's a spiritual battle. At the end of the day, it really is. And that doesn't have to be a religious battle. The spirit and religion are related, but they're not the same. And so one religion or whatever doesn't own that. It just means that there's something in you that is looking for something that this contemporary world is just not giving, with all of its like Marvel franchises and crazy like Mountain Dew Baja Blast flavored everything. I mean, I'm like just tired of it. And you know what? I just saw on TikTok somebody was showing that they had Mountain Dew flavored donuts, and I saw like Baja Blast Croc ripoffs at the store, and I was like, this is it. This is really what was foretold in the Book of Revelation.
We're in it. You think we're in it? Do you think it's astroturfed? I do. And maybe, I guess when we were growing up and we heard about the end of days, we thought this would be a natural progression. But it seems to be being scripted by these very powerful people. For what, though? To just hit the reset?
Yeah, I think that's why it is prophetic and can be true all the time. Like it is a true thing. It is not factual necessarily. Like, are we going to look for a beast with all these heads and all these attributes? No. And then some people, will come at me like they're literalists. Like, of course it's going to be a beast. It's like, okay, no, listen. It does apply throughout any generation and every generation, as long as there are human beings, because these sorts of myths and stories and these, texts really do just talk about the deep truths of human nature. So even if we had a reset, even if whatever, and somebody found that, along with the cult of Mickey, they found a Book of Revelation and they read it, they would say, this sounds like it could happen again. And it would happen again, because I think in its own way, it's just discussing this idea of, the pressure release valve or what have you. And what they're doing, and what they're admittedly doing, is not necessarily astroturfing it, although I think that's a better way to say it. They're accelerationists. Yeah. And that's a whole thing. They want it to happen like, hurry up, let's get this over with so we can get to the golden age. It's like, no, the golden age. So, just keep an ear out for when people talk about that golden age.
Yeah, I hear it all the time. Part of me is like, okay, guys, just get to it. Let's just get to it.
Come on,
Let's just get it over with. You're slow rolling this shit out. I'm so over all social media, television. I mean, it's like, let's wrap it up. Let's go. Let's figure this out, dude. All right, so you were going to come on and talk about something else, and I've been looking at your talking points. Sorry, we went on a 45-minute rant, but it was great. Dude, I could listen to you talk all day. I just like your talking points are so good. I just wanted to get into them.
I didn't even know what to put for talking points because I talk about everything. And I didn't even know it, but I was on a X Space recently, and I didn't know how long it would be. Someone's like, these go pretty long. And I'm like, okay. It was 9 hours. I was like, okay. So I think now I'm prepared to talk about anything and everything. So I'm just like, it's hard to find a talking point.
You talk for 9 hours.
9 hours. I was like, how is anyone still listening? But I felt like I had to because I had some really great people who had been waiting for so long to ask questions, like hours. And I didn't want to not get to everyone. And so it just left me like on there forever. And it was so crazy, but it was fun. 9
That's
hours.
crazy. So
a marathon. I felt like I should be raising money for St. Jude or something.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Damn, 9.
I wasted that opportunity.
I see people like, I saw some guy, he was like, hey, I'm going to go 24-hour stream, and he quit 2 hours.
Oh, we try to do that. We try to set that up, but we don't smoke the same. And then they asked if you've done it, and I was like, if Sam's never done it, I don't think we should do it.
No,
it's too long. Like we were gonna take shifts. Like, oh, you do 3 hours. You do 3 hours.
I've gone to 24-hour comedy shows.
We could do that.
Where you just show up and you grab your hour. Sometimes you'll have like 5 in the morning.
We could do 24 hours.
No, we could do a 24-hour Sam Tripoli. We'd start off a broken Sam. We throw a tinfoil hat in there, and then we do a cash daddies.
I would quit.
Then we do a doom scrolling.
I would quit.
We could do it. You could take a little break here and there. Play some old shit.
Let's get into some cannibalism among the kings. I mean, this seems to be like more prevalent more than ever, this cannibalism showing up, and it's so insane to me to hear people talk about it. Like, it's question, are you being serious? Are you just just playing a character? Tell me that the how good human meat is. Like, what are we doing here?
It's weird. It's often talked about. I mean, right now, of course, everybody's I think talking about the beef jerky emails from the Epstein thing, and asking what is beef jerky? Is it really beef jerky, or is it code for something else? But Epstein did tell people he was interested in like at least the sexual energy of young people, which is really kind of creepy. But we're talking about kind of the same thing, back to, unfortunately, the idea of like blood or whatever. I mean, we're talking about life and death. Essentially, those are stand-ins for life and death, because anything like of the flesh that so this is what they're worshiping, and this is what they look at as something that is sacred. And when I mean that, I mean people who have been in positions of power for a very long time. The word sarcophagus is Greek for flesh eater, because they believed that this limestone ate the body inside of it in like 40 days. And so, but then there's things like, I mentioned this on the Danny Jones show, and I was on, and I guess I just mentioned it in passing. Unfortunately, I had the mummy's curse of knowledge, as they would say, where I thought more people were familiar with the fact that people ate mummies in Europe. And so I just glossed over that, and Danny was like, yeah. And so I had to go on to explain that, yes, Europeans especially, they ate ground up mummies. They actually, Francis the First had a pack of ground mummy with him all the time.
So that was like a delicacy? It wasn't for like just...
It was for medicine. It was like what they believed. So Charles II of England had a ton of money to put out to get a recipe for something called the King's Drops. And that was it was powdered human skull that was distilled in wine. And he was being dosed with it on his deathbed. And so this has been like a thing for a long time, where people in positions of power, you hear people say like, eat the rich. Well, I don't know if that's some kind of like 1984 newspeak or whatever, because what they really do is eat the poor. They eat the disenfranchised. They eat the people who are lower than them. It's the people at the top that tend to eat people.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our good friends at ASPCA and their ASPCA pet insurance program. Let me tell you about them. Hey guys, real quick. Have you ever found yourself awake at 2 a.m. Googling things like, is this normal for dogs? Do I need to call the vet right now? You're not alone. Those unexpected moments are a part of having a pet, which is exactly why ASPCA Pet Health Insurance exists. It helps take some of the financial stress out of vet care so you can focus on your pet and less on cost.
The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program offers customizable accident and illness plans that can fit your budget, your lifestyle, and even your pet's particular quirks. Because let's be honest, vet bills can add up fast. ASPCA Pet Health Insurance has been around for almost 30 years and has covered over 1 million pets. And when it's time to submit a claim, it's easy. Just use their app and receive reimbursement for eligible vet bills directly into your bank account so you can get back to focusing on what really matters, your pet.
To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/tinfoil. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/tinfoil. Again, that's aspcapetinsurance.com/tinfoil. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance. And we thank them for sponsoring the show. Guys, real quick, I got to give you my dates. I'm going to be in Miami on next Friday, Joke World St. Petersburg. Then I'm going to be in Lawerence, Kansas. I also have TrutherCon in Dallas. I also have Skankfest in New Orleans. So go to samtripoli.com and grab those dates now. Grab tickets for those shows. And then World War Debate. Big things are coming. WorldWarDebate.com. More details to come. And then finally, news on Chaos Twins. We're about to launch it. Keep your eyes out at chaostwins.com. Let's get back to the show.
Now, of course, you have different types of cannibalism, like ritual cannibalism from indigenous people all over. You have like the case with, the Papua New Guinea where they all got Kuru disease. And they found out later that was because of prions and things in the brain. So they had to stop doing that. So, I mean, it's not to suggest that only the people in positions of power do that, but there's a difference behind, like, I think the vibe. Again, sort of like the difference between what you do in your own home versus, what you're doing to other people. So the idea of either consent and or power. At the end of it all, it's about power. So people who have that level of power over another, they start using people as simply a supply. So they take all these people and what they become like little medicinal packets. And even if you look at it in a contemporary era, the plasma banks, they're exploiting. The U.S. alone supplies like 70% of the world's plasma. And all those centers are in poorer neighborhoods. And they're people that will sell for like 2 times a week or more sometimes, just because they get, like a debit card for it. That's super exploitation.
Yeah. I mean, that is the Red Cross, which is shady as shit.
It's shady.
I mean, looks exactly like the Rothschild Red Shield, right? And they're like, donate blood. You're like, what are you doing with that blood, by the way? I'm sure some of it goes to the hospital, but where's all the rest of it go? I mean, we're talking about vampires all the time.
Yeah. How big are these blood banks?
How big are these blood banks? Especially when you do a big blood drive?
Right. Yeah. And it's not even just so, like, they did bones, of course they did blood, but they're also something called poor sinner's fat. That was human fat that was rendered from executed criminals, and they were given it was like an oil, like the like baby oil. Is it made of babies or for babies? Well, this was poor sinner's fat, and it was given to epileptics who drank the warm blood of the beheaded right there in the 1800s. I mean, brutal stuff.
Wait, as a remedy for epilepsy?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. A lot of this is corpse medicine, is what it's called. And this was the.
Did it work?
I don't know. Probably not, because, well, who knows, right? Trust the science.
Yeah,
so trust the science, because that was legit medicine back then that was backed by science. And that was what you'd have gotten if you were like a person of means. You'd be like, man, I got this problem. They'd be like, hold on. We got some, fat. We got human, we'll just make this. And so that was the science of the day. So
as far as you know, was it blended, or was it like, would you want particular, was there like a prized criminal that you would especially want the fat or blood of, or was
Jack
it kind
the
of
Ripper.
was it like a blended sort of
I think it was blended.
Okay.
I don't think in the 1800s it was like, in terms of the medicinal use of it, it wasn't like
I understand
the what they were doing for say conquering the Americas, where the people were drinking the blood or eating the heart of like the warriors to get those attributes, which is something that is a thing, and the heart especially, because it was it's described as the only organ that the internal organ that you truly feel on a regular basis, and so it's like very important to you. It's very much there. It holds your spirit, and much later we know differently about where spirit could be. Like they say, oh, it's in your head, or so it's always moving around. But at some point, people thought it was in your heart, and that's where you could capture the essence of a person, was through their beating heart, and you could take that in. That's kind of why people in different societies will eat the dead. The people who got kuru, they were doing it as a part of a ritual that is, unfortunately common in human behavior, which is that if you have a loved one who passed away, you would be the one to get to eat that person, because you're taking that person into you, as opposed to letting them like rot. And so you're like, and then different parts were reserved for different things, and so it got pretty gruesome. But I mean, and now we have, if you remember, in 2020. I think it was 2023, there was the Harvard Medical School morgue that they got busted for selling heads, brains, and skin from the donated bodies. They were letting people pick what they wanted, and they were paying through PayPal. And some of the memos on it were saying things like what was it that you bought, and it would say like head number 7.
That's crazy.
One of them said that they wanted a big piece of flesh and some boobies.
Dude,
some boobies?
Yeah.
Some boobies.
That's like Benjamin Franklin shit, right? With all those bodies in his yard or whatever.
Yeah.
Remember that?
And so they got in trouble. They got in a little trouble for that. But
I think this was. I thought this was in the 1800s. There was like grave robbers, but I thought it was for medical purposes. The people used to say, people used to steal bodies to do like digest them or like learn things about operations for hospitals. But I didn't know part of it was eating them alive.
Yeah, well, I mean, and then
not alive, right?
Well, not alive, but eating them. Like, yeah, that's what I meant. My bad.
But it's also them telling you they were grave robbers. Like,
yeah, good point. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, they're not going to say, yeah, we killed this guy. Now we're doing medical tests on him. It's
you're right. I just, because that's what I heard. I was like, people were robbing bodies, and the families would stay behind at the grave and make sure they didn't get robbed, because they were going to take the body and take it and sell it. But I guess some people were eating it as well.
Yeah, I mean.
There's a fine line.
It's like, are we getting worse? I mean, the way the internet makes us feel is like we're just degenerates, but it sounds like we've always been degenerates. It's just now we have a camera filming it.
Exactly right. I mean, really, when you look in the past, I think that's why I can happily, it sounds bad to say happily talk about these things, but it's because I know that it's actually been a little worse in other times. Like when you start, you hear people say, oh my gosh, it's never been worse. Or like, how can you bring up kids in this kind of environment? How they were saying that and worse during the Black Death. And so there have always been these points where people were just living wild lives. There has been disease and disaster and everything. And so I think when you spend all that time thinking about those bigger things and not like getting grounded in your own day to day. So if you imagine all the historic times of, say, the Black Death, there were still people who were having children, getting married, having parties, get-togethers, good times with friends, things that are what it really means to be human. Making art, singing songs, having a good drink, something like that. And so, was their life kind of shitty? Would you want to go to that? No, but I bet you if anybody lasts this long, if you go 100 years in the future, they'll look back at where we are now and say, that would have been terrible, So it's all about perspective. And so I don't think it's as bad as people say, only because it's really just that bad always. And how can we put the blinders on a little bit and be aware of what's going on, but kind of be in the here and now, what we can control, and just try to be human while we're here. But again, I think, our brains are only kind of program, so to speak, to remember the names of like 200 people, because that would be the extent of our tribal communities. And so if you imagine now, when people have parasocial relationships with other people online, when you have everybody, on X or going wherever, and just all of this stuff, like we're worried about people on the other side of the world and what they're thinking and doing. It's very overwhelming. And I think that is also leading people to a sense of despair. And then they go to the things to help them, whether it be, problem, reaction, solution. So we have this problem and it comes through the internet. Sorry, guys, it's all the internet.
I agree.
Right? And then the solutions, though, come through the internet too, because there's a lot of ways you can feel much better on the internet or connect. This is how a lot of these people, like, say, for instance, the cannibals.
We're back at gooning.
Gooning, right. So it's gooning and long pig. So, like the idea of the cannibals who are sharing recipes on the dark web. Like, there's cannibals everywhere, and they always will be and always have been. But when things become a subculture and then maybe just a counterculture, when we start, like, pushing that into where we can connect on those things and make little groups and little communities, that's where they start putting recipes back and forth. Like, hey, have you ever tried a person this way? Or have you ever done this? How about we meet up? How about we start? And then you get power behind it. So the internet's really, I think, showing us the problems of the darkest of the human heart, but also giving tools for these people to come together en masse and become more powerful and maybe appear as though there's more of them.
Yeah.
But it's just giving people that sense that, now we can do it. We have a community.
It's like a shadow in the cave almost, in a weird way. But it does exist, and you're totally right. I've said that about, like, the internet allowed all the town idiots to come together and become a powerful force of idiots. Right before they'd be in their town, and they would be like, we got to have blue-haired trans in women's sports. And everyone's like, oh, you're such an idiot. And then they got on the internet and they met 30,000 other idiots, and now we got a movement that seems very powerful.
Which is funny. That's terrible, and that's one of the worst side effects of the internet. But it's also been encouraging for people who are the only sensible people in groups also. That's kind of the counter to that, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree on
people
that.
have found community that otherwise wouldn't, that were in, like, very rural areas especially.
So one of the jokes that I made about the Odyssey and about Greeks was, with Elliot Page, was that Greeks love trans. They love trans.
True.
So it's, in a weird way, it's kind of consistent with the Greek culture. And then you get into the Greeks love temple prostitutes, and, they just loved them. They would go up there, they would give either sacrifice or give them money, and then they would hook up with the temple prostitute, and that was a spiritual experience for them.
Get your money's worth, yeah.
Right? I mean, is that real stuff?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that goes all the way back to Sumer as well. I mean, that idea of temple prostitution is where we sort of even get the idea of currency and money and that sort of thing. So the temple of Inanna and Ishtar was where we first see these coins that were made. The oldest money is the Sumerian shekel. It comes from 3000 BCE, and it wasn't invented for just barter and trade like you'd think. It was actually invented to act as a token for this temple sex rite. And so you would go through the current, that would be on riverbanks, and then you would bring your wheat and go up the current and stop at the temple, and you'd walk in and you would give the wheat, and then you would get this coin in exchange. So you'd bring the wheat to the temple of Ishtar, the wheat would feed the temple staff, you'd get a token per bushel, and the token would be redeemable for a visit with this priestess. And it wasn't just like some like brothel or some kind of hoe. This isn't like, like prostitution like we would think today. This was like really like this idea where the woman, or often, unfortunately, a young girl, would be there, and she would be possessed. It would be like you're not really having any kind of intercourse with her. You're having intercourse with the god. So it's this like almost like the Shekinah. Yeah. So you're not communing with her anymore. That's why she was the temple prostitute and not just, some lady of the night. It was something really sacred. And that's how they okay, now it's like this receipt for a religious offering, and you got the sacred sex. And she would open your eyes to things, but it was like that you were communing with the god. And so the first money was essentially a receipt for this sacred sex. And then you have, of course, in the Greek, as they were really, as you said, kind of all about this, coins were given for donating a bull to the temple of Dionysus, and that would be the coin needed to share in the sacred meal of that. And then, of course, Rome, go further in, Rome started minting inside the temple of Juno Moneta, where we get the idea of the word money, and mint comes from that, monetary, moneta. And so this notion of this trade system being really just for sex as part of the economy. It sounds a little maybe weird, but if you think about it from the older perspective of fertility and the importance of just keeping people alive, sex was seen as like really open and important because it really meant that you're going to stay alive. You're going to have babies. It was magical. It was mystical. It felt good. It was very much revered. So it was used then as something later to connect with the divine. But likewise on the flip side, because the sex was something that was it felt good, pleasurable, but it also led to eventual life. So did blood. Blood was life. In and of itself, it was life. And so you would also have a similar system set up for blood sacrifice. And so you'd have the temple system itself was running on blood sacrifice and sacred temple prostitution. And the priest standing in the middle of that whole thing would take his cut, and he was the first banker because he was taking the skim off of that, allowing the whole thing to go on.
Damn.
Yeah.
It really is the oldest profession.
It really is. Yeah, it's why money was invented, arguably. And there's scholars who can debate that or whatever, but there's a lot of scholarship that supports it, and there's always somebody who says no, but that's what it shows. Even, it's funny, there's and I'm not going to remember the name of the plant, exactly the name, but there was a Greek plant that is like where we get the idea of a heart being a heart shape, like we would recognize. So, if you've seen a heart, clearly it doesn't look like that little heart shape. But in this particular town, and it'll escape me, but it can be Googled, that there is this particular town where they had these flowers that looked like the bleeding heart plant. If you ever see like the little flower, they look like the little hearts with a drop at the end. This particular flower that they used, it's extinct now, but they have seeds. They know these existed. This is very well documented. The seed pods looked like heart-shaped, and they use those for abortion. And,
oh my God! Really?
Yes. And so what they would do? So now they minted coins with hearts on them. And you can find plenty of examples of that too. And that what those were, it was the first notion of free love, because you could have sex with no consequence. And that city became wealthy because everyone's like, oh my. So if you look at some ancient Greek art, you'll see this like image of, say, like a Greek lady, and she's looking coy, and she in her hand has like a little set of hearts. And from our perspective, it's like, oh, look how cute. Maybe these are like little, I don't know, I love you hearts.
Oh my God.
But what she's doing is like, hey, you don't have to worry about this. I'm going to abort this. And so heart-shaped, everything was heart. You can see heart coins, and it became a thing. So much so they became a monocrop, and then they couldn't function anymore, and the whole town industry collapsed. And eventually the seeds went extinct. But that's where we get the heart from.
Holy cow.
Very romantic,
they made
right?
so many of them, they lost their power?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, because it was a monocrop. So they were just making it. And then, yeah, it just for a long time. But it's, they were just little heart-shaped seed pods. There's archaeobotanists who have samples of them today. It's very well documented. There's images of it. And the coins themselves from this particular city have the little hearts on them. And so the art matches up, too, with the little hearts. And it's like, the first time where they could say, okay, we're going to have a 60s free love movement because we have, like early Planned Parenthood, like tactics. And so those were little like abortion pills. But that's the romantic, that's the romantic story behind why we use the heart as a sign of romance and love, as opposed to like thinking it has to do with the beating heart. That doesn't look like that at all. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
People have always been kind of like, crazy. So
Everything, yeah, that's it. People have always been crazy, and we just don't want to believe it. And we're thinking everybody's worse than it's ever been, and it's always been this, if not worse, before.
Yeah, like right now, I thought abortion was a new today thing. It's just been happening for forever, and they've been
I've seen stuff that a lot of the children they sacrifice were the kind of the kids that they would have on the side with their mistress, and they couldn't let anybody know, so they would sacrifice that child, and that makes me so sad.
Yeah, it's one of the most common practices has been. I mean, you wouldn't even need like a medicinal approach to this, because sadly, one of the most common practices found in human behavior is when the woman doesn't want the baby, she will go and leave it in a field or something and let it die of exposure. That's pretty much how it's mostly always been done. I mean, people have always been pretty wretched. It's just now we have the internet and like
we see it.
We have, well, it's sort of like that with the idea of like why people are a little bit mad at Israel, because in the past, people have been doing things. This is how it's been, war, etc. And then now we have a phone and we can just open it up and see really terrible things like death and destruction. And it's really hit people, I think, and the young people especially, to say, this isn't just blanketed war. Like, this isn't CNN where they show like the carpet bombing or something, and it's like just a city that looks really bad, and there's no people, though. They don't show the people on the ground. But now through TikTok, we can see the faces of mothers crying as they're holding a baby who has no arms. And that is like, okay, that's always been the case, and worse. I mean, not with the level of destruction, of course, with the bombs, but in the sense that humanity is terrible to each other, and people would have recognized the smell of death. Whereas I think now, we'd only recognize the smell of death because of maybe walking by a bad garbage can or something, and you smell, or maybe a dead animal if you're driving on the highway. But otherwise, we don't have to face that. We're very divorced from our whole reality. You go to the store and you buy a package of beef and it just looks like, vacuum packed with brands and different claims on it and stuff. And you forget that it was an animal that might have had feelings and needed health care. And so, that stuff affects the food that you eat as well. And so we're really just divorced from a lot of that. And I think it's important to not get overwhelmed with it completely, to maybe just look at it and say, shit's always crazy, and let's try to refocus a little on the here and now. Get out in nature. I know this is probably pretty trite at this point, but I believe it's really the case that we need to focus on the here and now a little more to try to balance that out, because what they really want is to suck us in to the grand algorithm god that they're building and just suck all the loosh out of us so that we're just enslaved. And in some ways they want to get that spirit from us as well. And they also want our bodies. They want everything. So it's just fight it by not engaging, because like you mentioned, earlier, it's the vampire thing. The whole lore of the vampire going so far back, vampires and demons, you have to let it in. It asks, but you have to give consent. So, they do all kinds of magic spells and wizardry to trick you into consenting to let that stuff in. But that's the battle. It's a
You're
battle.
so right. Everything is a magic trick for consent.
They want power over us, and we are the ones who have power over us. And only to an extent, though, too, because, if you believe in a higher power, then you even have to believe that at the end of the day, that's the power over us. And so it's a battle for sure, and we can see the evidence of it all through history. And it's not gone away now just because we have people in nice-looking suits and the internet, and, we have all these little fun things in life. We're living in the very same world. It's just been better hidden through glamour.
Yeah, that is crazy, dude. It's a spell.
Yeah.
Glamour is a spell, and it's totally makes sense. Have you seen these videos of these women this is why I look like normal, this is why I look like on makeup? You're like,
yeah.
Witch!
And why
Witch!
Why do they even post that?
I don't know, because they know guys don't care.
That we don't.
Just look pretty at some point. We'll be fine.
It's for other women. Well, I think, because I think that, because men, it doesn't matter how like wretched you may look. And this is mean to say, but like there's always going to be someone, right? I mean, so it doesn't really matter. I think a lot of that is the positioning for power plays for other women because of what women value over what maybe men do. And women in like, say like a biological evolutionary sense, they do covert mechanisms of power and control, whereas men do overt. So overt would be like, come at me, bro, I'll fucking punch you, whatever. Whereas a woman will just be like, all right, I see you. I'm gonna mess with your mind, or I'm gonna like position, I'm gonna manipulate. And even that comes from the evolution of it too. We ovulate in secret. I mean, we may know and everything, but like other animals go into heat, and it's very obvious. There's physical signs, and that always leads another like realm of suspicion. Like, wait a minute, is that my baby or not? It's like, I don't know, because there's where we get that
Maury Povich.
You are not the father, right?
Right.
So you get that whole thing. So women are often in this position where they're doing games and behind the scenes stuff like that. And so when it comes to something like makeup, I think what that is, just my anthropological viewpoint of that, is that women are saying, look at how good I am at putting men under a spell. Because this is how I look, but look what I can do. Because now I'm a powerful figure. I am the hero. Remember, the hero is what it is that, I mean, a hero doesn't have to be Hercules. A hero is whatever the ideal of the culture is, and that's idolized. So you say, okay, this is what the ideal is. It's like this Instagram model. And so she's your hero. And if she says, like, look at, I'm a hot mess without this makeup, then you can say, wow, I could be like that because she's human. I could be that. And now problem, reaction solution, she's like, and by the way, link in my bio to all these products and different things. So it's this very, I think, complicated but simple idea that she's exerting her power to say, look at my feminine power of being able to trick, to deceive, and that makes me a hero because I'm not saying that I'm a goddess. I am just a simple human that can look like a goddess. Here's how to deceive people as well. Link in the bio, buy this. Like,
damn, that's fire,
that's crazy,
dude. That's fire. It's this joke I'm working on about how like men are really great with coming up with funny terms for new sex positions, and then women come up with great terms for mental warfare against men. Like,
this is true.
Now, yeah, right. Guys are like the angry pirate. They'll come up with these names. Everyone laughs, and then women are like mansplaining, gaslighting, and the new one is grooming. These are just terms that make men go, "What the f- is going on?"
Oh, that new one I told you, digitally essayed.
Yeah, right. These are new terms.
Oh God.
Yeah. That is one, because that one chick that was on here, the blonde, I forgot what her name was. She was like trying to be, the voice of sex trafficking, and then it came out that she was in like all these world star hip hop videos, shaking her ass and everything. And then she was saying that she got manipulated into doing that. I mean, you're like, you were wanting to be in those videos.
The perfect example is Mia Khalifa. She swears that they tricked her into doing it. She made no money, but yet she regrets it all, but yet she lives with all the perks she got from porn.
Yeah, it's very weird, dude. It's very weird.
The makeup thing's interesting because a lot of what you would say is like the ideal face today doesn't exist in nature. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that, it's something we've been trained to think is beautiful. That the color.
Oh,
and the
you
face.
mean like with the makeup?
Yeah, if there was no makeup, that wouldn't be because that doesn't exist. Nobody looks like that. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like with the
that's what always makes me laugh when women
are.
When women are like, I'm going to be brave and not wear makeup. You're like, then I'm brave because I've never worn makeup ever in my life. I must be the bravest motherfucker. I've gone 53 years not worn makeup.
Yeah.
Give me my Purple Heart, dude.
The trick is making that the valuable, the valuable aesthetic, right? Do you know what I mean? It's not like saying, hey, I'm making myself look more beautiful, which it does happen, but I'm making myself look like this thing we've invented that is beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's
standard,
like a mask,
right?
almost.
A standard.
Yeah, it's like an invented, an artificial.
And
standard.
then Alicia Keys was trying for like a hot minute, like real quick. ladies, let's not wear makeup anymore. Let's do it. Let's stop it. And they're like, oh, hell no, dude. We're wearing makeup, man.
Yeah, it's like the first guy going over the top, in a battle.
But it gets into this thing too with like dating websites now. Especially on like Fit and Fresh and whatever that other show is with all the OnlyFans models, where the whatever, yeah, they go on. They're like the only hot people on dating websites are women, and I'm like, well, because that's how women attract men. Like you could be like I've said this before. There's a chick in a trailer park right now that can't read but looks great in shorts that could pull Bono from U2. One of the biggest rock stars in the world. Or she could also say no, go f yourself, and like that's kind of fucking power. Like if you have the right look as a woman, you can jump economic levels instantly. You can go from lower class or middle class to elite class. I mean, look at Melania. I mean, Trump, like she's slinging pee, dude, and now she's the first lady. Like that doesn't happen unless you're like the hottest of hot. Because that's how they lure you. That's why, and the things that guys bring traditionally that guys bring to the table. Yeah, there's looks. Girls like attractive men, but there's also things that women are attracted to are funny, accomplishments, whatever that is, that you can't get on a social media app. You can't. That doesn't come across. So you have 100% of the women fighting over 20% of the men, who just have the physical features to pop on a dating app.
Yeah, it's about money. And humor is so money. A lot of women want a guy with money. They could be like ugly, but they have money. The reason for that, other than just like gold digger, is that money is a stand-in for power and protection and what you can accomplish. So accomplishments. Humor is that way too, because it does show. There's been plenty of studies on this. It shows that if you are funny, women love men who are funny because it means that you are intelligent in such a way that you can navigate complex situations, which gives you power to be able to protect and possibly then earn money or whatever it is that you need, whether it's like hunting, gathering, whatever. So it's a stand-in. Humor and wit is a stand-in for like what you're capable of in like a more contemporary sense. And so I think there's a lot of examples of this, but you're right about the trailer park thing. And if you look at, I can't remember his name, but there's the guy from the football team, the soccer World Cup. Big, tall Nordic guy with the blonde hair.
Yeah, Holland.
Familiar with that?
Holland,
Yeah.
Erling Haaland.
Yes, yes. So it was going around like he was just like kind of ugly. Like everyone was like, ew, that guy is like ugly. And then all of a sudden people were like, wait a minute, is he ugly? And women are like going crazy for him. And it's like, well, what happened? You see this in, there's also films where you see the characters become more attractive as they go. And that's usually because what women look for at that anthropological sense. And again, this is the normative. There's people on all sides of the spectrum, but the normative kind of behavior pattern is that they're looking for qualities, and then the man will start to take on a better appearance. And so how you see people is more of a projection and reflection. I mean, yeah, there's ugly people. I mean, we're not going to lie, but there's people who could be beautiful, and then you find out what a big piece of shit they are, and all of a sudden they're just not looking that good anymore.
Yes.
Likewise, there's somebody who's maybe not conventionally attractive, but they just charm you, and then all of a sudden they're beautiful. And a real example of this too is when you have a set of identical twins, and if you know the twins and you grow up with them, or they're your friends or family, often you know them apart, even though people will say, how they look identical, but your eyes and your brain will start to pick up on subtleties and say, no, I can tell them apart. And so our brains can affect how we actually see. It's not just beer goggles, but it's like actual perception can change. And women are more susceptible to that more than men.
I mean, with rappers, Lil Wayne, Birdman, I've heard girls say, oh, he's cute, he's good looking, and I think they're not lying. But somehow reason they find Lil Wayne cute, and I'm like, dude, if he wasn't rich or famous, you'd be like, look at this homeless person.
Well, there's also
homeless
for
person.
sure,
Totally.
but there's always somebody for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's also like this thing we've done in our culture where we've kind of demonized these basic drives that are kind of like animalistic, but they do exist, and it gets people, particularly men, in trouble. And it's like like you said the term gold digger. We've demonized the drive that women have to find the men with the most resources. Because if you have the most resources, you can take care of the offspring the best. It's like that's as primal. Like you can go to a forest and find bears doing that. I mean, you're going to get eaten, but you like if you actually saw it, that the female bear is looking for the guy with the bear with the most territory, because the most territory means the most food, and that's good for the offspring. And then men with our desire, our need to pass on our genes, procreation is like the best way to do that is to hook up with many different women. Obviously, marriage is different, but that is a primal drive. That is a primal drive, is if you mate with the most, you'll probably have the most kids, and most of them hopefully will be your kids. It's the surest way to pass on your genes. And then it goes back to, and this is literally the debate on every single one of those, again, whatever, or fit and fresh, is why men don't like women with a big body count. Because the only way to ensure that child is yours is to have it on lockdown. And that's the only way. And it's like becoming crazier and crazier now, the amount of guys finding out it's not his kid. And it's just primal shit. And you'll never change that one thing. You will never ever change that until there's like mandatory DNA tests. Maybe that might change a little bit, but that's as primal as to get. Men don't want women who sleep around because they need to ensure the child is theirs. The offspring is there. If they're going to invest their resources into the child, they want it to be their child and their DNA that gets passed on.
So it's exactly right. And then there's two things to add to that. One, when it comes back to the makeup question and the evolution of that, the reason that red has been a popular color for lips, fingers, faces, etc., is because it mimics the flush that would happen during orgasm.
Yes.
And so it indicates that, hey, I'm functioning. And it also draws attention too. But then you have, you mentioned the Yanomamo tribe earlier. They have something that is called fraternal polyandry, and that's an act. That's something that people will do when they're under a lot of pressure and stress environmentally, where they take on basically they're polyamorous, but like how there's a natural potential thing that occurs on an evolutionary basis, our culture has turned it into something like that doesn't fit, or they're trying to make a political thing out of it. But fraternal polyandry is something that you see in groups that live in very harsh environments, where it means that a wife usually takes on multiple husbands as opposed to the opposite. And how that can only work is if it's fraternal, as in she marries brothers. Because of the whole idea of well, whose baby is this? It's like, well, I can be more forgiving if it's my brother's baby.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, our society, that's a oh hell no. But I understand if you're in the middle of some crazy environment, you just want your genes to pass on. I could see that.
Because they're in mountaintops, and they risk, the men have to go out and they lose the men more. And so they're like, we need a bunch of husbands. So send one out. We got a couple others in the back.
It's crazy. So I want to get into something Johnny cares a lot about, and that is living forever. And this real push by these elites to live forever. I'm on our thread. I sense that people they don't really buy into necessarily the organized religion that is everywhere, and that there's a hidden hand involved in a lot of that, going all the way back. I've been saying this forever. I don't hate any group. I think it's all Babylonian magic that has just seeped into all these religions and manipulated them enough so their beliefs get pushed on, masqueraded as whatever religion you believe in. And it's all of them. It's literally all of them. But what is your take on life and death? And your take on, maybe maybe you don't know, what happens to us when we die. There's a lot of people who talk about how they took reincarnation out of the Bible because they wanted you to live in scarcity. You only have this many days, and if you do what we tell you, you have the best chance of moving on to the next level. What are your whole thoughts on all that?
I have no idea because if I knew, I would probably start some sort of religion or something because I never claim to know anything metaphysical like that. I can only tell like what other people have believed. And yes, so reincarnation was a Christian belief for quite some time. So that belief pops up in a lot of different places. The idea that we're souls in like containers, that one's a very prevalent idea. And so even when it goes back to ideas of cannibalism or ritual sex or anything, it's like the temple prostitute was simply a container for the god. The person was the container for the spirit. The warrior contained the warrior spirit. So if you took that into your container, you would contain it. And so I think that that's a very natural course of thinking that people would maybe say, well, our souls can jump from one thing to the other. And I wouldn't rule that out completely because, what the hell do I know? So if I had that answer, I would definitely probably just start a religion and make all kinds of tax deductible monies or something. But in terms of living forever, and you said Babylonian magic, that's like the best way to describe it because that's really what it is. Now it could be because again, we don't know if there were things before this. We only know what we have the history or the archaeological record for. So it could be magic from like Atlantis for all we know. And it just like came over. But from what we have in the historical record, it is definitely going to Babylon and parts of it in Sumer. And what you can see it in the Epic of Gilgamesh, the very first story that we have, the epic tale of this king who, loses his friend, and he's trying through the whole thing to find this plant that's going to restore life. And so from the very earliest story, we're dealing with the themes of overcoming nature and overcoming death and power struggles between all of that. The idea of what nature is, the idea of what being human is, and how it all culminates, whether you're an animal or a great king or something else, it's still a question of mortality. And so this is like the oldest issue that we're all afraid of, dying. Some psychologists and stuff will say that that's the crux of everything, is that our anxiety and why we're such like jerks to one another is we're just all afraid of death to that extent. And perhaps that's true. But the thing we're seeing now with the effort to live forever, you have people who've pushed to make death and dying classified as a disease so that they can free up grant money to try to treat it. And that's a big push in a lot of these organizations that are trying to fund the biohacking and living forever sorts of things. But the technocrats are just basically running this old program, the man with everything, the king or whatever, the man with everything, but not time. So time reaches for the blood of the young. And you see this, and it's not about blood anymore. It's, in my view, a little bit about the law of physics. And that's something that I wrote a little bit about, the idea of entropy, which kind of got everybody up in a kerfluffle because I was saying, hey guys, when it comes to the UFO question of free energy, maybe we're looking at this a little narrowly. It's like saying, okay, Erica Kirk is the bitch here, but maybe there's other people above her pulling her strings, and maybe she's also a bitch. Maybe it's all of it. So it's like when you're looking at this idea of free energy and saying, well, if they have free energy and they're keeping it from us, it's simply because we would have all of the ability to have electricity and freedom of motion all over and all of that. And I'm like, this is true. If they have that, maybe they do. Would they give it to us? Would we all of a sudden see our electric bill go down? Bull. This is crazy. So it's not really about that. And yes, it would make the whole world, have unlimited resources, say. But do they want us to have unlimited resources? And what is the most precious unlimited resource? And that would be life. So when I'm looking at this question of so-called free energy, which it's not free, it's based on this idea of entropy, which is the tendency of everything to go into chaos or run down. So order will fall apart into disorder in these kinds of systems, this closed system. So, but it's explained as why time only runs in one direction, and that everything alive will eventually die. And it's the one bill that the universe will always go to collect. And so when you look at people who are doing these, I think, grand experiments in different siloed, multidisciplinary subjects like evolutionary biology or physics, you see that they're kind of circling something similar. and they're not all getting it. And I think that's by design, because the people like an Epstein, who is also known for funding a bunch of different, scientific experiments or scientists and what have you, they are the ones who are skimming real data off the top and giving everybody whatever else data. So I think while they're searching for this free energy, and yes, they're going to be people who are like definitely in it to find great ways of transportation or electricity or what have you, I think the bigger thing they're looking for is the axiomatic truth underneath it, which would be a mathematic formula that would describe all those things. And so if they do that, because if they can solve the question or the problem of entropy, which is all over Epstein's emails, he was really about this. Entropy is a concept in not only physics, but also economics and also communication studies. And it was, it's kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But if you were to fund at the very top all the different places, you would have this plausible deniability. You would also have like people who weren't even aware that they're part of like a peer review study or a research or control group even. They wouldn't know what they were involved in. They would be siloed into their own hyper specialization. And then what would come of that is somebody to be able to say, here's the math behind it, and what we can do with that is crack the entropy question within cells, and then we could live forever, because that's what that would even be. So, because I do not believe that they're going to try to have an off-world civilization on Mars.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that's what they're gunning for, and I think they know it's not possible. I think they're in a rush to find what it is that could allow them to crack the code, which is what Epstein said. He said, we need NSA level code breakers. And he was talking about the genes and the cells, like specifically to say, how can we crack the code of our actual, physical makeup in order to beat entropy and live forever?
There's a part of me that believes that they don't want to be judged for things that they've done as well. Like there's a giant fear of what's on the other side for the actions they've taken here. There's this whole discussion that like the fallen angels have convinced them if they do this, this, and this for them, they'll become gods or whatever it is. But there's also a part of me that thinks that they know that they've sold their soul or whatever. And on the other side is chaos. I always make jokes that all the war criminals come back as the chicken the donkey show in Tijuana. Like right now there's like Hitler's down there. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the karma and all this negative energy, maybe I'm just wrong about it, but I see it happen in my real life where like if you put out bad energy comes back in. Now think about, we're talking about on an individual level here. Like if I'm always a dick to you and dick to you and dick to you, like it comes back at me and eventually catches up with me. Imagine trying to do that on a world stage. Imagine like if there is, some kind of fucking payment you got to pay for what you did to other people, some punishment. What's Fauci going to go through after giving everybody that shot and all these people dying up into the millions? Like, I think, I
don't even think they're humans, because you got to be like some type of hybrid to live with yourself or something like that, knowing that you did this to all these people you go on Instagram.
They could be psychopaths.
Yeah, psychopaths. Some different type of human. Not what I am.
Yeah. So
that goes to the question of what it means to be human, which is what people were struggling with from the Epic of Gilgamesh and all the way into the question of cannibalism. Because you can call it cannibalism and be like, oh my gosh, they're eating people, but some of it's been, that they're doing it, because they care, or there's these other ways of thinking. And then you have, when it goes into the hands of the wealthy or the powerful, that's exploitation. And so it's about power over them. And so I think it's about owning and having that power, saying I'm going to take from you and so fully and completely.
Well, Johnny always says there's no what's it, Johnny? There's no biological shortcuts.
There's no biological free lunch. I borrowed that from Tim Ferriss. Yeah.
Yeah. And, we see that one guy that's like, oh, man, I'm going to live forever. I'm eating right. I'm doing this. I'm taking my son's blood.
Brian Johnson, right?
And now he's got like some fleshy disease in his stomach. And like when I saw that, I go, Johnny's right, dude. There's no biological shortcuts. You can't you can't do that and not have some kind of like bill to pay.
Well, no, that's interesting when you apply it to him, because in my mind, he's just trying to optimize. Do you know what I mean? Like he's actually doing the work. He's working out. You know what I mean? That's not a shortcut, working out. The guy works out like
but
all
he's
day.
taking all this stuff.
And taking your son's blood, that's a little extra.
Now that might be. Yeah, but the no biological free lunch thing applies more to things that have like instant, like are not hard earned. Exactly.
Like
precisely.
Ozempic. Like I don't know if you guys know, but now Ozempic, you don't have to inject it. For everybody that was scared to inject it, now they can take a pill. At least when you inject it, I was like, well, at least you got to inject. That's pretty ballsy. You got to go home, inject yourself. I'm like, all right, you kind of earning it. Now they don't even have to do that. Now it's just some pill, and now they have Ozempic.
But they're getting
LGBT.
sued for like insane money right now. And then you guys hear the lawsuit against Facebook for like $2 trillion.
For what?
For them manipulating children. But you're like, what kids are on Facebook, by the way?
Not for 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're in a lawsuit that's worth more than their actual company is worth. There's no way the U.S. government will let that ever happen. There's no way. But Instagram, all the stuff that people are doing to Instagram, it's crazy. Yeah. All right, man. Another fire episode with Dr. Heather Lynn. Heather, one more time, please tell them where they can find you.
thehfiles.com.
You have an open door to come on anytime. I always enjoy talk. I could listen to you talk for 9 hours. Yeah. By the way, I could just sit back. I mean, did you repeat any points? Yeah, at some point yet? No, nothing.
No, honestly, I didn't. So
was it just you talking?
A lot of it was. I thought it'd be more like interaction, but I think they just let me riff, and I riff for a lot of time. And then I spoke up and said, "Hey, don't we have like people that would like to answer a question? Like talk." And then they put them on, and then it just kept going. And I was just like, "I'll just do this until the wheels fall off." I don't know. We'll just see.
Can it was a personal challenge. Audio on that and put it out as a podcast?
It's out. Yeah, it's out. You can get the audio. I think it was. It's out there on X, but I can probably pull it. They put show notes up and everything. It was really wild. I'm like, I don't know. That was the first. And that was my first introduction to X Spaces, and I'm just like, is this a thing? Are these like all like this? And then the second one I did, it was like I think 5 hours, and I was like, it was crazy. But the 9-hour one was the longest I'd ever gone.
That is the longest episode. We used to have a guy come on here where every episode he did was 6 hours.
Oh yeah,
like,
the conspiracy guys.
How can you do that, dude? That's crazy to me. That's nuts to me. Well, I can listen to you forever. So thanks for coming on. Congratulations on being on Mount Crushmore. All-time banger episode. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and we'll see you next time, and let's break down the episode. All right, guys. What'd you guys think of Dr. Heather Lynn?
What a comeback.
Oh, I mean, dude.
She crushed
the
more.
Queen returns.
Absolutely.
Gets nominated for one episode, makes Mount Crushmore, comes back, drops hammers.
Gooning.
Yeah, gooning. We got gooning in.
I can't believe that.
I looked at that.
I can't believe a gooning is an occult ritual.
Are you familiar with gooning?
I'm like,
no, just a little bit.
Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Dude, John, guys, what do you guys think of the whole, like, it's the worst it's ever been. We're more degenerate than we've ever been. It sounds like we've always been degenerate, right?
Or worse.
I agree, absolutely.
Yeah, or worst.
Yeah, dude.
No, I think you hear about it more. Even that fresh and fit shit, dude, that you were talking about. I'm like, are women getting sluttier, or are we just hearing about every fucking slut on the planet because they're all going on podcasts now? You know what I'm saying?
And they're slinging pee more than ever.
Well, I don't know if that's true though, based on what you've said. I think they just used to do it in secret, in
no, that's it, Johnny.
And then before, like you had temple sluts.
Everybody,
temple sluts.
the temple sluts, dude. There's all these temple sluts out there.
Like, we don't
That's
have
what I call OnlyFans models now. Temple sluts.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have that formalized now. You can't go to church and get a slut.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
More people will go to church.
Yeah, of course, dude. You pay your tithe, and then you have a go at the
get to hit the temple slut.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And then, dude, could you imagine if you were eating someone's like, oh, by the way, that's Bob. We cooked him up.
You know they would tell you after you ate it.
Yeah, they'd be like, try this. It's the best beef jerky out there.
That's Bob. He sawed the heads off of 3 temple sluts. His blood is banging.
Called it a day, wrapped it up, didn't do well.
What's that? I don't know who I heard this. I don't know who I heard, but it's a saying where my daughter's sons are my sons. My son's sons might be my sons. As in, you don't know. The only ones that are they're your daughters. Like those are your lineage is your daughter because it came out of her snatch, and like that's your daughter. With your sons,
oh yeah,
you might not know because she says it's hers. You don't know. So he literally says that's why I love.
It goes back to my saying that women make the rules of society. There would be, if it was flipped, there would be DNA testing left and right.
That makes me sad.
What?
The idea that relationships and marriages and those social compacts have devolved to the point that people don't trust the person that they're supposed to be closest with.
And again, Johnny, did you see France said we can't have mandatory DNAs because our society will crumble?
Yeah, that makes me sad.
Yeah, because they know that those kids aren't who. Okay, remember how she said, if you had your brother's son, you take care of. You know how she said that. Wouldn't you want to take care of your son? That's your brother's. Whatever she was saying. You know how she said that in the beginning.
Yeah. Would I want to take care of my brother's son?
Better than some random person's, though. At the end of the day,
I mean, I would take care of any kid, but it's like, it's my family.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, that's what she said.
They're like, that's why you both hit it, and then it's a 50-50 shot. But at least it's it's your DNA.
Oh boy, yeah. Oh man, that's rough, huh? She's so good though, dude. I gotta be. Did you guys know that about them eating mummies and stuff? Like, I had no idea about that.
I was gonna ask her a question, but I don't know if you could actually answer it. Is it people that already died, or did they kill them and turn them into mummies?
Oh,
I think it's people that already died, right?
Isn't that weird, dude? Oh, dude, you got a headache? Try this pinch of mummy. Just put a little pinch of mummy in your coffee.
That is strange. I wonder if it sounds as strange to like Chinese people who still are into eating like rhino tusk and just random ground up.
Someone said if an alien landed in China, it would be one of those TikTok videos where they cut it up and serve it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's funny. One thing, by the way, we're still holding out hope that because the NDAA hasn't passed the Senate yet, or we'll hope it's not official. And it didn't pass the Senate last time they voted on it. So hopefully, by the time you hear this, it will not have passed. But I don't.
I thought I said it passed.
The House. It passed the House only, though. It hasn't passed the Senate yet. It got rejected in the Senate, and they still have to send it back to the Senate to be voted on.
Oh, God.
But
I need a hero.
Well, the annoying thing is, or the scary thing is, that most of the objections from the Democrats weren't even related to that part of it.
It was about the ID voting.
And some other stuff. Yeah, exactly. So it's probably going to remain in there. And it's not, when we say they're merging, they're not actually, it's not going to be like a shared armed forces. It's like info sharing and technology sharing. It's not
don't know.
They're going to be, it's not like Israelis are going to be in command of American troops or something like that.
Well, they already are.
And what's the reason we need, we need them? If someone was to tell
why
you.
need passing it? Why need the pass if it was a big deal?
To help it. Well, I'm not saying I didn't say it was not a big deal. I just said they're
Johnny,
not a formally
I got
integrated.
in an argument with Dylan last night about this, but it's like...
Big surprise there.
Why... like, when Israel says they're not going to send troops, how do we...
Send troops where?
They're not going to put boots on the ground in Iran?
Why would you ever believe anything they say? Yeah.
No. Meaning that you guys are going to go fight this. We're not going.
They've said that?
Yeah.
We are going?
That America is going to be the boots on the ground, not Israel.
Who said that? Netanyahu?
Israel.
What do you mean?
Look it up.
No, but like who? Like
somebody in the Israeli military.
Somebody in Israel. Okay. No, I mean
Yoko Shmogos.
Oh, okay.
Shmozos.
Now that you say that.
Okay.
No, I mean that
lines up.
Sure. I mean he tried to walk it back best he could, but the purest moment of truth we've gotten out of this administration was when Marco Rubio went on TV and said, listen, we went in because Israel told us they were going to go in, and if we didn't go in with them, then the countries around Iran that we're allied with will be attacked. So, Israel forced our hand. And then after that, he was like, I didn't really mean it.
Yeah, I mean,
he was it couldn't have been more clear what he meant.
Yeah.
He's like, they told us they were going, and they went.
Let them go. Tell us how it goes.
Yeah.
Send us some postcards.
Exactly. It's all fucked, man.
Go to samtripoli.com. Check out my dates. I'm going to be in Miami next week. Then I'm going to be at Joke World Festival, St. Petersburg. and also Lawerence, Kansas, Tulsa, and Joker, TrutherCon in Dallas, and then Skankfest in New Orleans, and closing out in Austin. A lot of premium. Get on Sam Tripoli. Get on my mailing list. Check that out, please. Please check it out. Get on it. All my premium content is crushing. Go all the way down. Oh yeah, Cash Daddies, real quick.
Cash Daddies is a podcast hosted by Sam Tripoli, Howie Dewey, and I'm on there too. And we talk about finance and investing and preparing for retirement. And associated with that podcast is a Patreon, patreon.com/Cash Daddies, where people hang out. Howie gives them, advice on not financial advice, of course, but just educates people on things to invest in and retirement. And he publishes a portfolio. It's a good community of people trying to save money.
Go all the way down real quick. Go to Chaos Twins. I told you earlier, just get ready. We're about to launch our campaign. The comic book is ready. We're going to get it going. And then go down. T-shirts. Let's see if you put up any of my new T-shirts.
Come on.
Tinfoil hat. Yep. No. Okay. That's fine. Go back. I got to talk to him about that. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver, samtripoli.gold, hydrogen brown gas, and chemical free body. Go check those out, please. I love it, chemical free body.
Hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Go check out my reaction videos. Some satanic dad just got shot.
A satanic dad?
Yeah,
that one thing I was going to say is that you're doing a lot of, YouTube doesn't like the violence. Like pushing it out, you might do less murders.
You should do stupid stuff.
Yeah,
but Osmond Gold does it all the time.
Yeah, but he started doing it after he was huge from gaming, streaming, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
go check it out. Someone get shot.
Just do stupid people getting arrested.
I know that
not
they
shot.
censor that violent shit because I've seen it in anytime
it's so
we
dumb.
watch a cop
the world
video
is more violent than ever. They're like, meh.
Well, I mean.
Again, it's like
it's funny because X is a complete opposite. They can't wait to show you a fucking violent video. Somebody's brain's getting smashed in or whatever.
You're totally right.
Check out Broken Sim. We just talked about the Odyssey for 40 minutes and got yelled at by our own listeners. So
I guess we can't have free thoughts here.
No, it's funny. It's so many people are doing the exact same thing that we have bitched about the left doing, castigated the left for doing for years. Getting emotionally involved.
Listen, I just want to say something to everybody. I always want to be the most honest I can be with you guys. Right? Even if it's something you might, I'm not going to just tell you what you want to hear. I just think that's not authentic. If you guys don't agree with me, that's fine. I'm sorry. I enjoyed the movie. I'm not, I would hate that you didn't get to experience it in the movie theater where it needs to be seen. But if you don't want to go see it, don't go see it. I'm not going to see Supergirl.
It's like The Last Jedi. That movie sucked. What they did to Luke Skywalker was gay. And when you tried to tell liberals, leftists, that movie sucked, they just couldn't. They couldn't stand for it. They would yell at you and call you a white supremacist. This is the equivalent of that for the right, I'm afraid.
It's a spectacular movie. I'm sorry.
And literally,
they had
spectacle.
10 minutes of fucking woke shit in a 2.5 hour movie.
If 10 minutes. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love you. I know why you're upset, and you have a right to be upset.
Yeah, we're snake bit for sure. We're whipped dogs.
Kick
dogs.
They're sending it's just there's a cultural war going on, but this movie plays a really good game that I think it makes me laugh. That's all I gotta say about it.
I agree.
You just gotta enjoy some entertainment sometimes.
Sometimes you gotta turn your brain off, dude. It's driving me fucking nuts.
Yeah, people don't believe that. They're like, I'm not giving $1. Dollars are votes, and I'm not supporting this kind of shit. I'm like, all right, dude, it's one movie. Okay. And I loved it. I saw people Tom Cruise is the only guy, and I love Tom Cruise's art, but Tom Cruise is the only guy. The Scientologist creep, you know what I mean? The guy that is brainwashed by
the Scientologist creep who Scientology is associated with some very dark shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the people that say they love Troy, which has this whole plot that's not in the Iliad about nation building. It's just about George W. Bush, basically. And but they love that because Brad Pitt beats the shit out of people. You know what I mean? It's
we're all homoerotic for Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. Yeah.
It's crazy to me, dude. Anyways, great show. Heather Lynn rocked.
She's awesome.
She's great. And I mean, it's another banger, dude. Just another banger.
Agree.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim.
So this is a call at some university that I haven't quite identified yet. And they're greeted by this thing here.
Why do you let those kids get away with this? They're not supposed to be here.
If you don't lower your voice, I am going to put handcuffs on you, and I'm going to take you to a Baker Act facility. Lower your voice.
Try it.
Are you threatening me?
You're threatening me.
Are you threatening me?
I'm just...
Because I'm here right now to deal with a stolen vehicle. I ain't got time to hear you screaming and yelling.
Don't you think this is like the entire Cure audience right here? Imagine doing security at a Cure concert and having to deal with that. Everyone's going into the woman's bathroom.
I have to say, I think the Cure are fantastic, and I
have some Cure songs on my playlist for sure, but that's
Shake
the audience
Dog,
right there.
Shake Dog Shake is one of the great rock songs of all time. I have been considering, because I have enough miles I can fly somewhere and I need to use them, flying to Estonia to see the Cure in a couple of weeks. That's how much I like the Cure. But you are 100% right about the audience. Like, there are so many weirdos like this in the Cure audience, for sure. There are a lot of cool people, but yeah, a lot of weird. I mean, this looks like, yeah.
Someone says I look like Grimace. All my purple on.
Oh, well, it's not really purple. That's a blue hat, right?
Here we go.
Anyway,
Yeah,
we'll play some more of this.
Alpha 73. Can we get another unit to deal with Jay Lee here? He is having a breakdown.
Say! Just say the right pronoun!
What did you say?
7351.
Get down on the ground right now.
No!
You're about to get sprayed.
No!
Get down on the ground right now.
Leave me alone!
I can come in there.
Leave me alone, please!
Okay, are you going to calm down?
I'm getting my phone out. I have to film this.
I'm telling you. Are you going to calm down?
I have to film
I will
this.
calm down. I will calm down.
You know what this is?
I will calm down when you get the
He's starting to
out of my
laugh.
face.
Alpha 73.
Leave me alone.
I have
Just please.
pepper spray in this individual right now.
Johnny, when the elite's like 90% you gotta go, this is the video they should show everybody. You're like, you think we're the bad guys. Do we need more of this? Do we need more of this?
Is this real? Is this real?
Yeah, 100%.
Right? What a crazy person. What a crazy person.
I mean, dude, imagine just a word that could trigger you this much.
I don't even know what the call was about. There was the
Someone
mugshot, by the way.
stole a car. Someone stole a car.
is
I
that
heard him
right?
say that. We're dealing with a car theft along those lines. So he shows up and then fucking wackadoodle over here. It just makes it all about them, they.
Oh, boy.
Like, dude, this is like, hey, dude, we're going to send you to prison. All
It's
the
not
dicks
them-
you
it's
can
not
gobble,
them,
Grimace.
It's not them, they. It's shit.
It's all the dicks you can gobble, cock monster.
Stop threatening me!
Yeah, lower your voice.
Leave me alone! Leave me alone!
What
I
makes
want you to leave me alone! You have been particularly abusing me!
If you come,
You did it!
if you come towards me one more time,
Follow me!
you are good.
Hey, and then of course, White Crusader has to step in. Listen, could you please leave the lady alone? She's going through some, hey, fat nipples guy, okay? Get out of here. Let us take care of this shit. Do you think I need to go to the library and hear mental illness screaming at people? Okay? Get the fuck out of here.
Jaylee, he's the focus on me, okay?
Hey, dude, listen.
You don't tell me where to go.
You cop!
Yeah, okay. Yeah, get on. That's when you walk away.
It's too late now. It's too late now.
Shut the fuck up.
Jaylee, you stop.
It's taken.
I just want to get away from him. I understand that.
He needs
Say!
Oh my god, dude.
Me! Just say she!
Oh, they're gonna f it up.
Gosh, can you please just tell them to use the right pronouns?
This is crazy, bro.
Dude, this is insanity. 51.50 for you, my friend. 51.50 for you, my friend. 51.50 for you, my friend.
Put your stuff.
Put your shit down. Put down your Del Taco right now.
Do you-
Put the Del Taco. You know you're f***ed up when you're eating Del Taco. I think that's Del Taco.
Do you think that, and this is my opinion,
Look at this white woman going, oh my God, I'm so sorry, unicorn. I'm so sorry, unicorn.
Don't you think at this point this cop has had enough and wants to arrest this person, so that's why he keeps calling her or him?
Yeah. Or
Right,
he's like,
it's obvious.
you look like a Nebraska linebacker. I'm not going to
See,
call
I
you
think
she.
he's like, you gotta be out of here. So I'm gonna keep calling you he until you do something arrestable.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I mean, dude, this is when you're like, wrap it up.
So that's Johnny talking about the Odyssey. That's so funny. It's not me. It's a lot of people. It's funny. The emotional reaction on the right to the Odyssey being actually a good movie is very
it's
similar
like the
to
left, the far left and the far right are basically this guy.
Yes. Yeah. Just
The only difference would be like if this is the people talking about, their hair would be red.
The Odyssey sucks. Oh my God.
Say the Odyssey sucks. Just say the Odyssey sucks. Just say it.
Turn around, put your hand behind your back.
Johnny, mute yourself. There we go.
Riley over here. Not going to be arrested.
Put your stuff down.
No.
Put your hands behind your back.
No.
Okay, so I'm only going to ask you one more
Just
time.
tase. Just tase.
You
Just
can
tase.
record all you want.
Yeah.
It's already beyond that point.
We
already tried.
You're stressing me out.
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
just asking you to please stop stressing.
We already tried to help you.
Oh, look at they're just
No, you
waiting to
didn't.
pounce.
Yes.
You came in with hostile intent.
Put your hands.
Be alone.
You are
Get on the
about to
ground right
get.
now.
Don't
Get on the
hurt
ground.
me.
Get on the ground right now.
Don't hurt me.
Get down on the ground right now.
Oh, they're in high heels. What are they in? Look at the shoes, dude. Like it's so funny. Now you're a man. They can't take you down. Look at her. She's got Dorothy from Oz shoes on. Click your heels 3 times. She'll disappear. Oh my God! These trans have retard strength. The cops don't look good right now. They can't. Help me! He's helping you, crazy person.
Get him down.
Like, dude.
Your back. I just wanted you to.
Come on, stop.
Oh. I would quit. I would quit my job right here, right now, because there's no way this isn't coming out and taking everybody out after this.
I'm gonna spray him.
No, please don't say him.
Okay, her. I'm gonna spray her.
Thank you.
Put your hand behind your back.
Okay.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app or check us out at youtube.com/Sam Tripoli.
Until I got high.
All this happened for a packed ball. This is a crazy reaction video. Someone ends up swallowing a white baggie, all for what could have been a traffic infraction. You guys already know we don't smoke the same scumbags in the building. Let's get right into it. Let's go.
Hello, I'm Officer Rockweather. So the reason I stopped you, when you picked her up, you weren't at the stop sign yet.
Okay.
And then when she got in the car, you went through the stop sign. Okay.
Oh, she's gonna be a problem. Like, she's already talking. Let the driver and the officer have this interaction. Why the f you getting in between them?
Right. Okay, so there's still that stop line you got to get to, and then make the right turn. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have your driver's license and insurance?
My mom's in my bar. I just had to go pick her up. I just left there.
Do you work at Champs or what?
Yeah, I literally just got off.
All right. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from my house.
And then are you going to Champs with him or what?
Yeah.
No, I just went back in
because the bar is closed.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for him. He's like, you know what I'm saying?
Right here.
Like, I don't want him to go home with another woman.
I got
you. Know what I mean?
Oh, dude, she's crazy. She's nuts, dog. She looked possessed right there. Look at her eyes right there. Possessed, coked out on a sick one, homie.
Okay.
Jamie and friends inside. I just closed the outside.
Jamie's inside?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, just give me a minute and I'll be right back, okay?
Smell it from here.
I copy, and we'll take another for a 961 search. All right, Reese.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. I got a question for you too, okay? Is there any marijuana in the car?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, did you smoke marijuana in the car recently?
No, it's just not for work.
Okay, so I can smell marijuana come from the car. Ma'am, do you have marijuana on you at all?
No, sir.
No?
I'm sorry. I just
Okay.
got in the car.
Okay, so here's the deal. We're gonna have to search the car, okay? So I can smell the odor. If you're being honest with me and there's nothing in the car, awesome, okay? But if you're lying to me, we're gonna have bigger issues, okay? All right, let's go ahead and step out of the car for me, Reese.
Can I be honest?
Yeah, you want to be honest now?
Oh, you can tell. He got morals. He don't want to go to jail. He literally can be honest. I mean, no, have him look for it. I mean, I don't believe. I don't know. Some cops are good cops, but that whole thing. If you're honest with me, I'm gonna help you out. They usually don't. Let's see how this goes.
Right, sir.
Okay.
All that I have is a bowl.
You had a bowl in the car?
Yeah.
Cool. What's your name, miss?
Hi, sir. I'm Misty, and I'm just older passerby. Like, you saw me in the car. Like,
All right, don't reach for it. Just come on out of the car for me. Yeah, you can tell me where it's at here in a second.
Just on the right side.
Okay. All right, just come to the back of the car for me.
Okay, hey, just take your purse and just leave it in the front seat.
no, I'm
Just-
sorry.
No, you're gonna leave your purse in the front seat. Where are you going? No, you're gonna go in handcuffs. You're not gonna listen to me. You're gonna go in handcuffs if you're not gonna listen.
She got some priors. She got a DUI. When they look her up, she got something on her. Cause I mean, she's already resisting arrest, and she has nothing to do with it. She could have just stood there, shut the fuck up, gave him the purse, and gone on with her day. And he could have got a DUI. He could have got arrested, warrant out for.
Deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.